Welcome to Christchurch, Wanstead in East London. My name is Robert Springett and I've been the rector of the parish here since 2001. When I arrived in this parish, Nicholas Sherwood, our Director of Music, was telling me how the organ that we had here was on its last legs. And so I contacted the diocese to ask if they had someone who could come and take an independent look at our existing organ. And they put me in touch with Ian Bell. So without doubt, we needed to do something about this. This wasn't something we could simply sit on. If we simply waited, the existing organ that we had in church was going to stop working within just a few years. We then had to take the decision about how we move forward to getting a replacement pipe organ for the church. And with Ian's help, we looked at a number of possibilities. One was to commission an entirely new build organ, but the price of that was quite frankly prohibitive for a parish such as ours. One other option was to look for a historic organ from a church that was being made redundant and see if we could find an instrument that would fit our building. And with the help of Paul Tyndall, who scoured the byways of redundant organs, we came across this organ from St Mary Magdalene Church in Manningham. And then we applied to the Heritage Lottery Fund. And after an enormous amount of work and being challenged by the Heritage Lottery Fund to think about what we were doing in this project, they awarded us a grant of around £250,000 to complete the restoration of this organ. But it's not just to do this. What's been particularly exciting about this project for us has been the way in which we've been asked to share this resource with the wider community. And so alongside the restoration of the organ, we've also been running an education project working with local schools and also with adult groups to share with them the delights of this instrument, its characteristics, the music it gives, the versatility that it has to it. And so we've had lots of schools in here, and with the help of Duncan Chapman and William McVicker, they've been putting together tubes and connecting them to pipes and making the whole thing work.
My name is William McVicker.
And my name's Duncan Chapman, and we've been leading the education projects here at Christchurch, Wanstead.
The main principle behind the education project was to explore the enormous range of cross-curricular study which the organ as a musical instrument can offer. Another aspect of this project was to be able to introduce adult education art students to the concept of marrying art and music together.
These students had an opportunity to come to the church here in Wanstead to experience making images from sounds, to explore ways in which sounds could be made from images, and also to learn something about the organ in relation to art and art history.
My name is Anna Bissett and I work at Redbridge Institute of Adult Education. I'm an artist, but I also run classes here in Wanstead at Wanstead House Community Association. We were invited to take part in this project, and we brought 3 groups of students down to the church and spent several weeks drawing in and around the church using a lot of different media. Finally, and the most interesting part in a way, because we haven't done it before with the students, was to actually listen to music and produce some images in response to that music. So they were actually listening and trying to visualise the music in whatever way that made sense to them. And we'd also looked at a lot of artists, or certain artists, who had been interested in music. So Kandinsky and Paul Klee were very useful starting points. Messiaen was one of the composers that we looked at initially because of his interest or his understanding of seeing colours when he plays or listens to music. And we took that as a starting point. And the idea of linking more than one of your senses to art. So art can respond in a way to sound, as well as maybe even other senses like taste and touch. So during an evening presentation here at the church, students were asked to think about those things and given some little experiments to do, like tasting sweets and thinking about the colours that they might be without actually seeing the suite first. And one of the most interesting parts of the project for me have been looking at the organ. When we first came here, it was exposed. You could see all of the insides. You could actually go in and look out at the church from the inside. And all of the insides, the components of the organ, the shapes, the patterns, really seemed to suggest music in a way, the sort of music that an organ could make, and the rhythms and the patterns and the textures in the music. So there was very much a link between those two things for me, actually, in looking at the organ itself.